we got our top 10 most important plays from the 2025 World Series. I think my list might be a little controversial because I think that there's some plays that are a little higher or lower. I'll get your take on that. But that's coming next here on the High Five.
The High Five. D-Max Top 5.
Okay, so the first play we'll get into, and there's just so many to pick. I mean, the fact that it's tough to pick your 10 most memorable plays from one series, I mean, you could do a high five for just one game alone in all-time plays. That's how many epic plays there were in this World Series. But I think the first one, I'll admit, there's some sentimental value in this one because it ended up being his final pitch of his big league career. And of course, I'm talking about Clayton Edward Kershaw, someone that just was doing anything he could to help this team, whether it be mop-up duty against the Phillies, whether it be just being in there any way he could to help this team. And he was thrusted into a situation, high leverage, with the season on the line, potentially based on how the following couple of games went. He enters the game in the 12th inning in a 5-5 game. Bases loaded against Lucas. And it's a 3-2 count, and he gets him to ground out. There was no margin for error, and Clayton Kershaw, in his final pitch of his Dodgers career, of his big league career, was a critical pitch to help them win a World Series game, and he ends up going out on top.
Bouncing ball to second. Edman hurries. Open at first in time. Tommy Edman. Another play on defense.
That's what I'm going with there. And I look at Clayton Kershaw's career and I say to myself, hey, this is someone that has had his trials and tribulations. He's had his ups and downs. We talked about Roki today. Hey, Kersh early on, he was looking for a third pitch. He was trying to find a way to stay at the big league level with all this hype, right? So it's happened before. But for him to contribute the way that he did, I think that he smiles even more when he looks at that World Series ring. Let's be honest. If Clayton Kershaw came into that game and Lucas hits a bases clearing triple or hits a grand slam and the Dodgers lose that series and that's your last memory of Clayton Kershaw, the Kershans out there are going to be horrified. But even on the flip side, if Kersh entered that game, lost it for him, and the Dodgers still won that series, it might hit a little different knowing that they almost won in spite of him or overcame his issue, right? But I think I just love the fact that I can go to sleep at night with my Clayton Kershaw jersey clinched in my hands and think to myself, King Kersh came through at that age and found a way to get it done. He got it done for this team, and you love it. You love to see it, and it was some awesome stuff. All right. That was number 10. This is a very thought out list here. And to think that this is number 9 is kind of wild. But I'm going with Will Klein in Game 3. Given the Dodgers everything he had, 4 scoreless innings, didn't give up a run. He threw 72 pitches. The 72 pitches that he threw in his 4 scoreless innings in the 18-inning game, those were only 7 fewer than Blue Jay starter Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer, great pitcher, future Hall of Famer, but it was Will Klein's night at Dodger Stadium. And the way he came through, here it is.
First outs he's gotten in a month. Schneider's down on a high. He takes Game 3 of the World Series. 2 scoreless innings. 72nd pitch for a guy who had never thrown more than 30. Unbelievable stuff from Will Klein.
So that's Will Klein. That was his moment. And I like the fact that he's building off that moment. And I talked to him after that game, and he just was in awe. He couldn't believe it. He truly could not believe it. And it's one of those ones where he'll never have to buy a drink in Los Angeles for the rest of his days, and for good reason. And for good reason. I got Will Klein coming in at number 9. Now, coming in at number 8, it's kind of wild to think this is number 8, and it kind of doesn't get talked about enough, is Shohei Ohtani's performance in that same epic Game 3. Because, yes, we know there was a 3-homer, 10-strikeout game in Game 4, the clinchy game in the NLCS against the Brewers. But as far as overall offensive production, what Shohei did in that game, reaching base 9 times, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 5 walks, 4 intentional, all-time great stuff from the Big Show.
Been loving it. Comes back in. It's lifted to deep right field. Towards the corner. Goodbye. Important thing. Ohtani on a center cut fastball. He's been up 4 times in extra innings, or 4 times back to the 9th inning for some guys. He doesn't. It's a 4-pitch walk to Ohtani, a 5th consecutive walk for him.
I mean, just incredible stuff. I mean, you dive deeper in that, and the moment was never too big for Shohei. But coming off the performance he had in the NLCS, to put together a game like that was insane. I mean, to not commit a single out 18 innings is wild. He became the first player ever to be walked intentionally 4 times. John Schneider just threw that form every single time. And with those 4 intentional walks, Ohtani reached base at a point where it wasn't the situation, it was how they were doing it. I mean, the record for an intentional walk in a postseason series was Barry Bonds. He was intentionally walked 13 times during the Giants' run in 2002 where they lost the Angels in Game 7. But he got 4 straight, and he got really 5 straight because he didn't get a strike in that 5th at bat, or that late at bat there where he was walked for the 5th time. He didn't see a single strike. So it's one thing to walk with the guy with a runner at second and 1 out, something like that. He was being walked with the bases empty, and Toronto did that 3 times. 3 times they were saying, hey, in a close game, in a tie game, we're willing to walk you intentionally. And then also, too, when he faced Mason Flaherty, and then he was also going up against Sir Anthony Dominguez, he doubled and he homered twice, and that is what ended up tying the score. So that game doesn't get into extra innings if it weren't for Ohtani's offensive heroics. I mean, how about one more thing? Through 9 innings, the Dodgers had 4 extra base hits. All of them were Shohei Ohtani's. That's one for the ages. I think that it's ranked Game 3 or Game 4 of the NLCS is the Ohtani game, but honorable mentions are the 50-50 game in that game right there, offensively. Just incredible stuff. All right, moving on this list. You're like, where's the controversy at? Okay, coming in at number 7, that same game, Freddie Freeman, he ends it in the 18th and becomes the only player in big league history to have walk-off home runs twice in multiple World Series. Freddie Freeman does it again.
Los Angeles. Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the catch strikes midnight. Freddie Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word on a Game 3 classic. It takes 6 hours and 39.
So Freddie Freeman, that walk-off there, just unbelievable stuff. I mean, the game was 6 hours and 39 minutes, and it wasn't just the home run that he hit and getting the Dodgers the win. It was the fact that it prevented the Dodgers from having to use Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I still get goosebumps thinking of Yoshi sending himself to the bullpen saying, I'm going to pitch in this game, because as great and as courageous as Yoshi is, a straight-up killer with that, hey, losing is not an option mentality, had he pitched in that game, it would have been tough to see him pitching games 6 and 7, especially at the level that he did it. So Freddie's home run not only won the game, but also I think won them games 6 and 7 because you didn't have to use Yoshi in that one. We'll never know, but still put them in the best place to do it. Now, this is where it gets a little controversial. For me at number 6, I've got Will Smith's go-ahead home run in the 11th inning in Game 7 of the World Series.
Smith, it's a high fly ball to deep left field. It's got a chance. It is gone. It's Will Smith in Game 7. And in the 11th inning of Game 7, the Dodgers lead for the first time.
What I just got done saying that somebody's going to be remembered.
So there was Will Smith there, and that home run was monster. I mean, it was off Shane Bieber. By the way, homering off Bieber in Canada, you got to love it. 10 postseason home runs for Will Smith. That home run increased the Dodgers' win probability up 41%. So it was monster, but here's the thing. The plays in front of it are what led to him having an opportunity to hit that. And we'll never know if someone else was going to put the Dodgers on top. Was it going to be via a home run? Was it going to be via single, double, triple, walk? We don't know. But we know that he would not be in that position if it weren't for these plays that we're going to get into, because now we are in the top 5. So the fifth play, the fifth most important play, the fifth most memorable moment of the 2025 World Series was the ultra rare double play, of course, is to win the World Series. That was extremely rare. The fact that Mookie Betts gets a 6-3 double play at the end of the World Series, I think easily you put that at 5. Yes, it wasn't the Rojas play, but still, for Mookie Betts to be the first player to have a game-ending double play to seal Game 7 since 1947. That was the last time he had a double play in the World Series. It's only happened 3 times to end the World Series in double play fashion. And you also had a run on third that could have tied the game. So, yeah, let's go with Mookie Betts 6-3 double play to end the World Series and give the Dodgers back-to-back titles, cements the dynasty, and their 9th World Series in franchise history.
The Dodgers lead by 1. Broken back, ground ball. Betts has it, steps on the bag. The throw to first. Double play from backs against the wall to back. The Dodgers cement their dynasty. They win Game 7 in extra innings. 5-4.
First of all, it's a great call there by Steven Nelson. Great call. From back to the wall to back World Series, cementing a dynasty. And just to get that soft contact, to get Alejandro Kirk to roll into that, a great play by Mookie. It shows that he grew at that position. And look, that's the dog pile play, right? That's the one you love. But now we're getting into the top 4. So 4, we're going Rojas to Smith to prevent IKF, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, from winning the World Series. After Rojas had just tied the World Series with a home run in the 9th inning, he falls off balance and is still able to throw a strike at home, and Will Smith is able to keep his foot on the bag. The Blue Jays were so close to winning the World Series. They were so close to doing it, but thanks to Rojas and Smith, the Dodgers found a way, and they extended that game.
Varsho, roller to second. Rojas comes home in time, and it's Miguel Rojas who ties it in the top of the 9th, saves it in the bottom of the 9th. 2 out. Miguel Rojas, who was completely out of the picture 48 hours ago.
So do you realize that if Rojas doesn't make that play, like we might rarely talk about that Rojas home run that he hit in the 9th, that we probably never talk about Yoshi's heroics and coming out and going in back-to-back days and no days rest in the World Series. I mean, that's what made the series so spectacular, is it was a series that was decided with moments where it was about millimeters and inches, and he's a couple feet away from taking that. Now, we did a full breakdown about him taking a lead and sliding, and Varsho was unlikely to hit it to third there, but still, give Miguel Rojas credit. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, inches away from winning the World Series, but instead the Dodgers are able to extend the game. All right, in our top 3, I think that this one is a play that gets lost just because it happened in Game 6. But let's not forget, in Game 6, the Dodgers were close to going down. But it was about a play where Kike Hernandez has elite baseball IQ. And when have you ever seen a 7-3 double play to end a game and extend a series? Well, that series was about seeing things we've never seen before. And that was another example. Coming in at number 3, the 7-3 double play, Kike to Rojas to end the game.
Jimenez floats one, left field. Hernandez makes the catch. Back to second. Game 7 tomorrow night. It's a game-ending double play. Kike Hernandez to Miguel Rojas.
Well, this ball hangs up enough, and you can see right away that Kike was going right to second.
Just unbelievable. I mean, for Rojas to have his foot on the bag, let the ball go past him, and he catches it on his left hip. And for Kike to use his eyes to get Barger off the bag like that, I mean, it was all-time stuff. It really, truly was. And Rojas told us on this show that Kike hugged him so hard after getting those final 2 outs that he had to get treatment just to be able to play in Game 7. That is how intense that moment was. So, of course, it's always Kike Hernandez somehow finding himself in a situation that flips the series. Whether it be 2024, big part of the Game 5 5-run comeback, and just absolute baseball IQ, 1,000, off-the-chart savviness to charge in the way he was. He kind of went against the positioning a little bit to make that throw on the run, throw one hopper, and Rojas to have those soft hands to make that play. That ends the inning. That ends the game, and that sends it to Game 7. And that's what brings us to the top 2 plays, the top 2 most important and memorable plays from the 2025 World Series. Coming in at number 2, Andy Pages makes the greatest catch when you look at moment plus catch plus it looked like the series was over. He runs over Kike Hernandez, and as Kike Hernandez says, he turned him into an NBA player because he posterized him. He makes the catch, and he sends the game into extra innings. Andy Pages with the greatest catch in Dodgers postseason history.
Here's the winning run. Fly ball to left field. Hernandez on the run with Pages over his head. Pages runs him over, makes the catch, sends Game 7 to the 10th. Incredible.
Pages reaches up and makes the catch as he crashes into Kike.
Just an unbelievable catch. I mean, where do you start to unpack on that catch? I think the first thing you look at was not just Andy Pages, but Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. He had the presence of mind to remove Tommy Edman, who had been dealing with an ankle injury, had some mobility limitations all season long, to put in Andy Pages, who had been struggling all postseason long, who was benched in that series, to say, we want a more athletic defensive center fielder out there. And Andy Pages, he makes the catch of his lifetime. He ran 121 feet to get there to run over Kike Hernandez to keep the season alive. He had a 60% catch probability, which isn't miracle status, but I think when you consider the circumstances and the state of the game, the way that ball sounded off the bat, it felt like the game was over. We'll never know if Kike was going to catch that. We'll never know if Tommy Edman was going to catch that. What we do know is that he did catch that and it extended the game. And what I think is so mind-blowing about that is the Dodgers have a history of these magical catches in big games. In 1955, when the Dodgers had still yet to win a World Series, where they had lost to the Yankees all 5 times they had faced them in the Fall Classic, it was another Cuban-born outfielder named Sandy Amoros who made an incredible play in left field. And coincidentally, Sandy Amoros was also a defensive substitution. He came in for Junior Gilliam. And Gilliam was a right-handed player who caught the ball with his right hand, and Sandy Amoros was left-handed. And what happened was, long story short, Don Zimmer, he was in the game and you had all of these Yankee greats, and they're trying to continue to build that dynasty, Yogi Berra, and he sliced one off the bat in a pitch towards left field, towards the foul line. Amoros, who was playing towards left center field, he was shaded towards there. He ran about as far as anyone had ever seen an outfielder run at the time, and he made a play. And he caught it near the foul pole, And he fired the ball to Pee Wee Reese, who relayed the ball to Gil Hodges to get McDougald at first base to double up the Yankees to really end that threat there. So, I mean, the fact that it's another play similar to that, Sandy Amorose is someone that they say if he was right-handed, wouldn't have been able to stretch and make that catch. And he makes the play and they win that series and they win that game. And then Andy Paz with that big catch there to make that play. So, yeah, something magical about baseball moments for sure. And I think that's one that will go down as history as one of the greatest plays in Dodgers history. But coming at number one is Miguel Rojas. And the lead up to this, I think, is what makes it so spectacular. If I told you before that series, hey, who's your guess as to which Dodger is going to hit the most important home run of this series? How many players would you name before you named Miguel Rojas? A player that wasn't even playing in that series. A player that I saw in the dugout after the Dodgers lost Game 5 that was staring at the Dodger Stadium field deep in the night thinking that was going to be his last time ever playing in that stadium and possibly in that series. But his wife, she encouraged him saying, you're going to have a home run. You're going to have a big moment. And the wild thing is he hadn't hit a home run in a month. And there was nothing that pointed to him having that moment because he's not a home run hitter. He's not. He's only reached double-digit home runs in his season once in his 12-year career. He's not a guy that you would have picked to be at the plate against Jeff Hoffman with the season on the line. The Dodgers down a run 3-2 in the top of the ninth inning. The Blue Jays one strike away from winning the World Series, and Miguel Rojas gets a slider up in the zone. He can't walk him because Shohei's on deck, and Miguel Rojas has the moment of his life in what was the most memorable moment of the most memorable World Series that we've ever seen.
Drilled to left field and deep and gone! No way! Miguel Rojas! Dave Roberts played his gut. The guy hadn't had a hit in a month. And in the ninth inning of Game 7, he's hit a tying home run.
So the Dodgers had an 8.7% win probability in Game 7 of the World Series when Rojas stepped into that batter's box. And then after he hit it, it was 44.2%. Including his postseason plate appearances, Rojas had a 2.1% chance of hitting a home run. He had a 0.5% chance of hitting a home run off a right-handed pitcher. He had hit one homer off a righty in 192 plate appearances leading up to that bat, and that righty wasn't even a pitcher. It was a position player. And he ends up 36 years old, hadn't hit a home run since September 19th, hadn't hit a home run in the ninth inning or later of a game since 2019 when he was a Marlin, and he ends up having his first and only career postseason home run as a Dodger. I mean, unbelievable stuff. Incredible stuff. He hit the 12th home run in World Series history that had tied the score in the ninth inning. The first was by Frank Baker in the 1911 World Series, but Rojas hit the only one that was in the ninth inning or later of a Game 7. Truly an all-time home run. I said seconds after this game that this was the most important home run in Dodgers history because it was the swing that saved a dynasty. It was a swing that gave the Dodgers something that this illustrious and historic franchise had never experienced, and that is win back-to-back championships, win back-to-back World Series titles, and he hits that bomb. I think it's just an incredible moment, man. And that's one of those things where I think he ends up possibly being the Dodgers manager one day, long after Dave Roberts is gone. I think this moment is a big reason why. I mean, just incredible stuff for Miggy Rowe. Could not be more happy. But those are my top 10 moments. I think the only honorable mention that I didn't throw in there that I considered over the Kersh one was the Justin Dean ball over the wall, hands up in Game 6. That was certainly one there. But how do you guys feel about my top 10, my double high five